Hi, I'm Bob Vila. Welcome to our storm-ready house here in Punta Gorda, Florida. Today we're doing a little excavating on the backside where we're building a very small but very beautiful pool. Also on the front of the house, we'll be installing a column right at the main entrance. And inside the house, one of the special touches in the master bathroom, a wonderful soaking tub. Stick around. Okay, Jesse, 9 in the morning and it's already 90 degrees.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing like building in Florida in the summer. Let's talk about some of these decorative details because we're going to be looking at different parts of the house today. And on the street facade, what we've got is a pair of elements that are very kind of Mediterranean feeling.
Correct.
That's what gives it this kind of Tuscan flair.
Right.
And the arch in the dormer with the corner overhangs, it's a pretty complicated little design statement, but all of it is just hollow.
Correct. It is more decorative.
There's nothing there. And then what's going to happen with the eaves? It's the last kind of unfinished part of the house that we're looking at on the outside.
Correct. What we have up there is the overhangs right now are bare. What we're going to do is come in and we put a extra 2x4 nailer on the back side. And
against the wall itself.
Correct, against the wall. And then we come in and we put a few extra stringers all the way down. In the past, traditional soffit's just been stuck into the J-channel on the wall, and we've had a lot of failure with that. So we're putting in the extra nailers in there.
Okay, and when you say J-channel, you're talking it's aluminum, right?
Correct.
So this is all, when it's finished, it'll just be a flat aluminum surface up there.
Correct.
Is it paintable or is it already?
It is paintable, but it will come in a bronze color to match the drip edge.
To match, okay, so it'll be that dark brownish bronze color.
Correct.
Okay. Now, since this is not structural, these columns are really just decorative. They're not holding anything up.
They are decorative.
And they look like they're rough stucco, but they're hollow.
They're hollow.
What are they made of?
They're made of Styrofoam.
Oh, okay. So this one hasn't been put up yet, right?
Exactly.
And here again, we've got a similar element. Looks like the arch and the heavy masonry look, but it's all just decorative, and it still has to be held up.
Correct. This is the bearing post right here. This is the 4x4 bearing post that'll be carrying this load up here.
Okay, and then in order to make this match over here, this is what you use.
This is our column, our decorative columns.
How often can you do that? They are Styrofoam?
Yes, sir, they are.
Okay, and then they are just sandwiched around the... just like in Hollywood. Well, in terms of the proportions of it, I think they're a little skimpy, but I guess once they get finished off to match the color on the house, that disappears. How do they glue them together?
What we use is we use just a construction adhesive foam.
Okay, let's see you put it together. So it's like a panel adhesive, but it's expanding.
Correct.
Oh, we had it in the wrong orientation, huh? There you go. I see. So they just kind of hold it together with bungee cords while the adhesive sets. How long does it take to set?
Probably takes it about 45 minutes to an hour to get nice and firm.
All right. And then what about these decorative rings?
What happens with these rings is once we get this column in place and we pull the bungees off of it, we come in here and we spray that with an acrylic texture, and then we take the decorative rings and we space them on the bottom and the top to match the other columns.
All right, then these rings are also made of styrofoam.
Correct.
And they take the place of a base or a capital and just trim out the column to give it a little bit of sense. Now, do they get a glued, yeah, same adhesive on the end there?
Correct.
And the design calls for a double of these on the bottom and a double on the top.
Correct, to match the others.
All right, so now a coating, a texture is sprayed on it.
Yeah, this is an acrylic texture right here that's sprayed on.
And it's kind of a thickish consistency. All right, so once they've finished spraying the surface on, then the painter can come back and put the same color on it, right?
Correct.
Good. What does it cost, one of these things?
Average column on that probably costs about 40, 50 bucks.
So it's nothing.
Nothing.
But it's an interesting decorative touch. What about hurricane winds?
We've never had one blown off in the hurricane, but flying projectiles with wind blown could damage them.
Yeah, you could get dents on them, I suppose.
Correct.
Great. Looks nice. All right, well, our pool has been underway for a while. Tom McNealy is here from Blue Haven Pools. And Tom, Blue Haven's the biggest pool manufacturer or builder in the world, right?
That's correct. Based in California and offices all over the country.
And you're based here in Naples, Florida?
In Naples, Florida, right.
So building pools in Florida must be a piece of cake, right?
Not necessarily.
Yeah. What kind of pools do you build most commonly?
Well, we build a lot of different types of pools, and the building isn't the difficulty. It's usually in the excavation.
Yeah. Well, our excavation started here this morning, and so we got here in time to see the machine take out the first few shovelfuls. It looked pretty straightforward.
Right.
What conditions did you find here?
We hit some water, but it was very down, all the way down at the bottom.
Groundwater.
Groundwater, so it wasn't very complicated.
Mm-hmm. And the soil condition?
Well, sandy, good conditions.
Yeah, no, when we were first starting putting down our footings and our stem wall and stuff, we were remarking that a lot of this lot actually probably came from the spoils of digging out the canals in the area.
Right.
So that we noticed that most of the digging that was going on was just soft, sandy conditions. But I know if you go up a little towards Cape Coral, there's a reason why they call it Cape Coral.
Right, that's correct.
The digging gets bad there. So once they had the hole excavated, what's the first thing that they've done here?
Well, we buried what we call a dead line, which is an 1.5 inch line underneath the pool, which stays there. It has holes
And that's the one that stays right down to the bottom where the crushed stone is.
That's right. That's correct. And that way the water can be controlled.
The groundwater.
The groundwater can be controlled by putting a pump on that.
All right, because the biggest enemy for an excavation like this is if you got a high water table.
Yes.
And
yes.
all of a sudden you're trying to get ready to gunite a pool, but you got the water rising on its own.
Right, right.
Okay. Then once they had that set up, they put in all these vertical 2x4s around
Right.
the perimeter.
Correct.
What are they for?
That's correct. That creates the shape of the pool. They laid it out from inside, drove these down in, put outriggers on them so they stay steady,
Right.
and then put a form up, which is the shape of the pool.
Yeah, no, I've been pretty impressed. There's 3 or 4 young men that have been working on this all day, and they plumbed up all these verticals to create the shape, and they're working off a blueprint.
Right, yes.
And then we didn't quite see this all being attached. What is this?
This is what's called steel tex. It's a paperback mesh, and it's used to create the back of the pool. Because we can't, in Florida, we can't use the dirt as a form, shoot up against the dirt. It's too
All
much.
right, when you say shoot, you mean the gunite that's going to be coming in a few minutes.
Correct.
Good. Why can't you just go up against the sides?
Well, when you dig a pool that way, you have to depend on no cave-ins.
Right.
And we have cave-ins in
We
Florida.
have cave-ins in Florida.
So we just overdig it and use the steel
And you-
tex to create the shape.
Great.
The outside wall.
The gunite crews arrived here right after lunch,
Correct.
and
Every time.
what's the first thing that they have to get done?
Well, they set the trucks up, the batch truck and the compressor truck.
What's the difference?
Well, the batch truck is what carries the gunite, which is sand and cement mixed dry
Uh-huh.
and shot through the 4-inch hose.
So the sand and cement doesn't receive any water until it goes through.
Correct. The gunman, the nozzle man,
Right.
adds the water, more or less depending on which part of the pool he's shooting, right at the nozzle.
Okay. So the amount of water that he puts into the mix varies from place to place and
Correct.
what part of the pool he's spraying up.
Shooting the wall or shooting the floor,
Okay.
more or less water.
Less water if you're shooting vertically.
Correct.
I got you. Now, to what thickness do they want to build these outside walls?
The walls and the floor are designed to be 6 inches thick.
So, Tom, how much setup time is there between the time that it comes out the nozzle and sticks to the side of this thing and the time that it's too hard to work it?
About half an hour, something like that, depending on the weather, of course.
So you need enough men on this job so that while one of them is guniting and shooting the material, others are in there forming and shaping.
That's correct.
And as you were saying earlier, this is kind of a modified kidney form so that there are a number of odd shapes and bumps.
Right. But of course, they just follow, putting in 6 inches of gunite, just follow the form.
The contours of the form,
Right.
yeah. And then I noticed that they had built a big pile of it over here in the corner, and I wondered what that was going to be like.
Right.
But then that's what they used to create the steps.
The steps and the swim out are both shot in as a big lump and then formed by hand.
And there's no need to put any additional rebar or wire reinforcing into this lump.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, Tim and Dan, our plumbers, are getting ready to set the tub. And what's the mix you got there?
This is just a sand mix. We put this up under the tub to help stabilize the tub so when you step in it, it doesn't sag or anything like that. It doesn't creak and crack.
Right. So it's essentially a pretty dry mix, though, isn't it?
Yes, sir. You don't want to mix it up real running because it'll separate away from the tub.
Right. And so we'll just spread that around a bit. Now, your tubing is all complete, right?
Yes, sir. All we have to do is set in the tub and hook it up.
All right. Now, we've got with us Kevin Samario here, who's from the company that manufactures this tub. And tell us about it. What's it made out of?
This is our Royal Bath Livingston acrylic tub. The surface is 100% solid color acrylic. What you see on the surface is our blue spray-on vinyl protection, which we like to keep on during the construction process.
Right, this right here, sure.
Correct.
Now, it's 100% vinyl. The color's in it through and through?
The color is in it through and through, yes, the acrylic surface. The nature of acrylic helps it to resist mold and mildew, and it cleans up easily with any non-abrasive cleaner. It can hold its shine indefinitely for 10, 20, 30 years plus.
Wow. Now, are you guys ready to muscle it in there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let us know if you need more help.
Oh, we can.
It doesn't weigh that much, does it, Kevin?
This tub has a good amount of weight to it. You're looking at a little over 200 pounds.
You guys are really strong. Now, one of the concerns with any kind of circulating tub like this in some areas is that you have, again, problems with mold or mildew building up. How do you deal with that?
That's correct. But what we do on all of our Whirlpool tubs is we use a Schedule 40 rigid PVC, which enables self-draining of the tub. In order to keep the plumbing lines clean, we recommend you fill the tub up with water at least once a month and add a cup of bleach to it and run it through the system for about 2 to 3 minutes. That'll free it up of any mold and mildew that could possibly collect inside. For the surface of the tub, any household non-abrasive cleaner works great. The natural acrylic surface is non-porous, so that resists mold and mildew for the life of the tub.
Now, does it get fastened down to that deck in some fashion? It just sits on there?
Yes, sir. We've come in and already put up our stringers to keep the tub level, and with the mud in there, it'll hold it in place real nice.
Oh, okay, so that's all there is to it. Kevin, what's the cost on something like this?
Something like this retail will run you approximately $700.
That's really a bargain. Great. All right, thanks, fellas. That's it for this week. Next time, we're going to be putting our finishes on the exterior of the house, as well as installing some beautiful porcelanosa tile in the living room and showing you how to hang a door. Till then, I'm Bob Vila.